express my heartfelt gratitude to the good leaders of Kenya and the good people of Kenya for giving us this great opportunity. And so let me just take some few minutes and read this memorandum. To international stakeholders, East African community, diplomatic missions, and human rights organizations from Banyamulenge community in Kenya, April 2026. Subject: urgent alert, systematic violence and humanitarian crisis facing the Banyamulenge community in Eastern DRC. 1. Executive summary. This memorandum serves as a formal alert regarding the deteriorating security and human rights situation targeting the Tutsi Banyamulenge community in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Current indicators reveal a systematic campaign characterized by dehumanization, the total destruction of economic livelihoods, and targeted military operations. We urgently request immediate international intervention to prevent further escalation toward a humanitarian catastrophe and ensure the protection of vulnerable civilian population. 2. Historical context, the politicization of identity. The current crisis is fueled by a long-standing manipulation of indigenous versus non-original identities used to marginalize Rwandan Congolese. South Kivu, Banyamulenge. Despite a documented presence in the high plateaus since the 18th century, the Banyamulenge have faced repeated attempts at political disenfranchisement since the 1970s. North Kivu, Tutsi. Following the 1885 Berlin Conference, significant Tutsi population became Congolese citizens via border demarcation. Labeling these groups as newcomers is a factual inaccuracy used to justify exclusion. Legislative barriers. The 1981 Nationality Law number 81/002 created a legal vacuum that effectively stripped many of their citizenship rights, transforming a domestic population into foreigners on their ancestral lands. 3. Security dynamics and armed proliferation. The security landscape was irrevocably altered post-1994 with the influx of armed elements, FDLR, into the Kivu regions. These groups have exported a lethal ideology that has since been integrated into local security structures. Of grave concern is the reported operational coordination between the Congolese National Army, FARDC, there was a Lendo militias, and foreign armed elements, FNDB and FDLR. 4. Documented humanitarian impact from 2017 to 2026. Data collected since 2017 indicates a deliberate policy of socio-economic destruction. Casualties. More than 1,500 individuals have been killed specifically because of their Banyamulenge identity. Economic decimation. The looting of over 600,000 head of cattle has dismantled the community's primary means of survival and social cohesion. Mass displacement. More than 600 villages have been destroyed, resulting in the clearance of 95% of ancestral Banyamulenge lands in South Kivu. Infrastructure. The destruction of 147 schools and 57 health centers represents a long-term deprivation of human rights. Refugee crisis. There are currently 130,000 documented Tutsi refugees in Rwanda, with thousands more in Burundi and Uganda, unable to return due to credible threats of violence. 5. Recent escalation and the security vacuum. The formal integration of the Wazalendo as stated aligned actors in April 2022 has significantly escalated the threat to civilians. Regional intervention. Since 2023, the presence of over 10,000 Burundian troops in high plateaus has coincided with increased civilian blockades rather than de-escalation. Uvira emergency. Following the security vacuum left by the IFC M23 withdrew on January 15, 2026, 98% of Banyamulenge families fled Uvira due to a lack of neutral protection. Currently, 1,201 persons remain stranded in Kamanyola without basic aid. Area operations. Since early 2026, the use of heavy weaponry and drones in Minembwe has led to the destruction of 40 additional villages, signaling a shift toward more lethal warfare methods.
Social fabric, evolution of warfare. The conflict has entered a lethal phase characterized by aerial bombardment. Drone strikes in Minembwe and Mikeke have leveled schools, churches and clinics, killing over 1,500 people in the high plateau. Mass displacement. Following the security vacuum of January 2025, 98% of Banyamulenge families in Uvira have free detention or shelter. Data of destruction. This scale of the attempt to erase Banyamulenge community is qualified by the destruction of 600 villages, 136 schools, 41 health centers, 131 churches, 600,000 head of cattle. Recommendation. We urge the United States and the international partners to facilitate the following. Deployment of protection units. Authorize UN-AU units specifically turned to prevent conflict-related sexual violence. Aerial moratorium. Impose an immediate ban of armed drone and aerial strikes in civilian population. Have humanitarian corridors. Establish internationally supervised routes to break the blockade of the high plateau. Targeted sanctions. Apply Russia's financial and travel sanctions against leaders inciting genocidal, riotic and purge lists. Independent Commission of Inquiry. Launch a formal investigation into the systematic destruction of infrastructure and mass loss of life. My conclusion, the Banyamulenge people face a calculated campaign of erasure. We appeal to your commitment to human dignity to ensure that these atrocities are met with a decisive global response. We need justice for Banyamulenge. Stop drowning our people in Minembwe. Thank you.
Where is the lady? These are remember to start with your name. Just narrate how the experience was and your response.
Asanteni sana. Kwa majina naitwa Nyasafari Joli. Mimi ni Mnyamulenge wa kutoka DRC, South Kivu, Congo. Mimi ni mtu wa milima huko mahali kunaitwa Minembwe. Mimi ni mmoja wa waathirika wa vita ambazo tunafanyiwa, mauaji ambayo tunafanyiwa kila wakati. Tunanyanyasika sana, tumekuja kukataa na kukemea hiyo mauaji ambayo inafanyiwa. Sisi mahali tulikuwa tunauliwa kila siku, tunauliwa na mai, tunauliwa na nchi jirani. Burundi, tunauliwa na jeshi letu la serikali ya Kongo ambayo inajiita FRDC. Hiyo nchi inakataa kweli kuwa sisi ni wakongomani kamilifu, na sisi tumejipata Kongo, tumezaliwa Kongo, mababu zetu wamezaliwa huko Kongo. Sasa tunauliwa, watoto wanauliwa, wamama wanauliwa, kuna mabomu kubwa sana, kuna drone ambazo zinapiga watu, kuna ndege aina ya Sukhoi ambayo inaripua hata manyumba watu wakiwa wamelala. Watu wanauliwa, hata tumekuja kusogeshwa mahali pamoja ambapo ni karibu sana, mahali tumefungiwa, hakuna chumvi, hakuna chakula yoyote ambayo inapatikana. Mauaji ni ya kila aina, ubakaji ni ya kila aina. Sura yetu imebadilishwa, tumeitwa majina mengi, tunauliwa pasipokuwa na haki yoyote. Mataifa yanatazama tu Wanyamulenge wakiuliwa. Sisi ni binadamu kama wanadamu wengine. Tunataka haki, tunataka amani, tunataka kuishi kama binadamu wengine.